Well guys, I didn't think I'd make another video so soon after just putting out a video tutorial. But we've had a patch come out for Assetto Corsa EVO, and pull up the patch notes. I think I posted it in my Discord. But you guys, encourage you to join our Discord channel. It's a bunch of like-minded gamers there. But we post funny stuff, but also gaming news. In any case, yeah, so this is it here. And some netcode stuff, some physics stuff, tire updates, suspension geometry, some AI stuff, VSync, triple screen stuff, force feedback settings, a lot of different tweaks. So you might read through that, pause the video and read through that at a later time. But so glad we got a patch. So anyway, without further ado, let's fire it up. So I'm trying some new settings and found some more frame rate. I want to make a guide. This guide is going to be how to get 90 frames per second in Assetto Corsa EVO in VR. I mean, nearly locked 90 frames is what we're doing. And it's really good. So it's not going to be super crisp, like 100% resolution crisp. But if you can stand it to be just a little fuzzy, just a little, the frame rate return is amazing. It's so good. I've been getting podiums all day. It's just, when the frame rate comes up, that means the input latency goes down. So the higher you can get that frame rate, the quicker your mouse, keyboard, all your peripherals, your wheel responds. So there's a lot of benefit to running high frame rate. Plus, it's just easier for your eyes to track micro changes and movements and stuff because you're getting so much more update, so much more information. But in any case, under device, so you basically go click on Pimax Crystal Light, device settings, it'll pull up this little menu here under the first tab. Make sure you do your updates, by the way. And refresh rate, you want to do 90 Hertz. The rest, I think, everything is stock here. And then under general, make sure it's OpenXR. Pimax OpenXR is the runtime. And you want to make sure you're not trying to use Steam for this game. So that will be an extra layer you don't need, as this game works directly with the Pimax. So in any case, under games, you'll select your Assetto Corsa EVO. Image quality 84 is working pretty good for me. When I went to 85 and above, yes, it's slightly crisper, but the frame rate really tanks. It's like taking your video card and you're playing a game in 1440p or 2K, if you will. Runs good, it's nice, smooth, low latency. And you go, let's try it in 4K. Yeah, it looks better. It's marginally better. It's considerably better, maybe even. But if you're getting a third of the frame rate out, it's like, why? Unless you're taking screenshots, don't do that. You'll make yourself miserable. And in VR, you'll make yourself nauseous with low frame rates. So 84% is working good. 85, I started seeing a little bit of stuttering, so I could tell the GPU was starting to get hit hard. I'm also using a dual combination of upscaling. This is crazy, but it works good. So I've tried FSR, I've tried NIS. NIS is good, but there's some little warbling with the anti-aliasing, some little funny stuff. Kind of took me out of the immersion. FSR, and this is an AMD video card, so it makes sense. FSR is an AMD technology that's shared to everybody. So if you click on quality, balanced, performance, and custom, if you click on each of these and then click custom, it'll show you what each of these mean. But what I like is 1.2 and 1. So if you look at quality, go custom, their quality version is not as sharp as mine because they're running, if you slide this direction, you're heading towards higher performance, as you can see if you go to custom after clicking performance. But my recommendation is more like their quality setting, but 1.2. Okay, 1.1 frame rate came off the 90s, went to 70s. The sharpness of the game, I can't really, it's not worth it. 15-20 frames for, I can't tell, not worth it. So 1.2, and then just crank the sharpness all the way up. I have not seen a big frame rate hit with this. And you guys might want to experiment in your own time, lower settings to a point where, it looks just as sharp. Maybe you gain a couple frames. But I've not noticed a tank by doing this, so I'm just doing it that way right now. Alright, so we've got EVO in 84%. We're using GPU upscaling. And when you do that, it disables this sharpness. It's redundant because this has its own sharp. It's normally, you can't see it, but when you click custom, you get the sharpness option. And that's why that is redundant. That kind of threw me off at first. Fixed foveated rendering. If you've got an NVIDIA card, maybe give it a try, but I don't think it works on AMD cards currently. Let's see, what other settings did we do? Yeah, so basically we're upscaling here. We're running a lower resolution here, and then we're telling it to upscale again here. Crazy, I know, but this is how you get 90 frames, and it actually looks really good. Surprisingly good. Better than my G2. Not like 100% Pimax Crystal Light, but much better than my HP Reverb G2. Nowhere near the screen door effect like that. Now in the super distance, like you're looking at from the beginning to the end of, like, say, Spa or Fuji long straights, at the very end, yeah, you're not going to read the signs and stuff, like the numbers on the side of the road. But as you get closer to the breaking point, it comes into focus just like a real sign would on the road, so it's not unusual. It doesn't feel unusual to me. It feels liquid smooth and very fun. So anyway, let's go back to games, EVO. Fire this up. Now I'm going to close that and minimize that. I do not like programs on top of programs in Windows that can cause mouse issues and weirdness, crashes, weird things. So now I'm going to change it off of my desktop view. Well, in a minute I will. Let me show you the video card settings in case you didn't see the last video. So you can see here 91 frames. It's going to go up and down a little bit. That's textures loading in. Hard drive activity is always going to make stutters, so make sure you guys got SSD hard drives and stuff, because it's a game changer. So anyway, settings, video. Here's the basic settings. Now my monitor is actually an LG 45-inch OLED, 3440 by 1440p. When I launch the game from the Pimax, the game runs a lower resolution just for the desktop size of the game, not the actual. It doesn't change your desktop resolution. I can minimize this. My icons and everything are the same as usual. So it just does this so that, because if you're running VR, you're technically basically got 3 monitors going on. 1, 2, and then 3, the big one. So we run that at a low resolution, so it's really just for monitoring the situation. When you come in and out of VR and you're talking to chat or whatever, it's good for that. So what I basically do in the graphics for VR is go to the lowest first, and then as you change things, it'll become custom. So I mean, you can just go to custom, but set everything low first, apply that, and then change things as needed. Multi-sampling in most cases, even when I run the Pimax at 100% resolution, I still needed at least 2x on the multi-sampling, in my opinion. And if you're okay with jagged white lines, especially Spa's a real bad track. Spa I usually run 4. If you're having to run 8, you're probably running too low of a resolution, and trying to upscale from too low, like that 84% that I'm running. You might be running 50 or something, and you might have to run 8. But anyway, on my settings, 2 works on every track, and then Spa and a couple. There might be another one, maybe Fuji. It's the ones with a lot of real thin fencing that causes flickering and stuff. This will fix that. If you go up to like 4, it'll be pretty decent. Most cases I leave it at 2 for just to keep the frame rate locked at 90. At 4 I'll see 80s and 90s, some 70s. 8 I'll see 60s. I mean, it really hurts it. And these just add blur. I don't recommend those. This is the real deal. For textures, that's just the skin that's on top of the car. So you could run a low quality model in any game, but if you run a high quality texture on top of it, it'll trick you into thinking you got a high quality asset there. So I run that at Ultra. I have a 24 gig of RAM, so you can You know, you can push this card a little bit with some of those things, whereas some other cars might. You may have to experiment with some lower settings. Level of detail, that's like building level of detail. I don't really care about that too much. Unless you see pop in, you might bump that up. But vehicle level of detail is just that. I choose ultra because some tracks go into the night races, and I notice when I look behind me with my steering wheel button, I would have a free look back, or if I'm using the mirrors. Either way, this is the vehicle level of detail distance. Think of it like that. If you have this turned way down here, you might see bright spots behind you on the road but no car. Or if you have it about here, you might see a car behind you but no windshield or no roof. You know, so for immersion, you know, as you guys are getting to know me and what I'm about, it's got to be crisp as possible with the highest frame rate possible. And it has to trick me into thinking I'm in the car. These settings, that's what it's for. That's what these settings are, to trick me into thinking I'm on the track. I can play in VR for 4 or 6 hours, no problem. Well, I'll get tired, but you know what I mean. So all these things are going to kill frame rate. They add a little bit of nicety to the game. If you got a 4090 or 5090, you know, you could probably swing a lot of this stuff and be fine. But for me, this is what I do. I don't use depth of field or any blurring. And I like my mirrors looking good, so they're interactive, and I turn them on both sides. In VR, we don't have that center mirror. I just use the thumb button to look behind and use the side mirrors. Some cars have a center mirror, I should say, but we don't have that virtual mirror option, I don't think. So those are the settings that are getting me 90 frames, but you have to do, and we're going to get into the game in just a second here. But to get to the 90, you've got to do the Oni speed mod and the cropped field of view mod. And it makes it look like you're racing with a helmet on. It's very immersive. I highly recommend it. You might think, oh, I don't want to crop my view a little bit. You know, I want to see my legs. I want to be able to see the roll bar above me. Personally, once you're in a race, you're really looking at this. That's it. Your mirrors and that. In VR, that's it. So why render the roof of the car that's black, the front banner that's black on the inside? Don't render all that stuff. Just render what you need. Basically, a little over the windshield, and you know, maybe the bottom of the steering wheel, the top of your knees. You know, you can see a little bit of that. And certainly, when you look down, you can see it. You know, you can still see everything. It's just you're just cropping out some of the stuff that you don't even notice. Because when I'm driving normally, I'm not looking at my knees. I'm looking here. I can still look down and see gauges, and everything is still there. Anyway, let me show you. So I've got a separate video tutorial on that Oni speed mod. But let me pull up my. I still have the desktop up. Perfect. So that's the OpenXR companion, OpenXR toolkit. Like I said, I got a whole video on how to get this, where to get it, how to install it, and how to configure it. You can disable and enable it without having to uninstall it. So if you don't like it, you don't have to mess with it. You can uninstall it if you want, but you can just disable. But anyway, OpenXR toolkit is what you need. That's the foundation, and then on top of that, you need this Oni speed mod. And I've got a video that shows you where to get it, how to put it in there. Once you have that active, that's what gives you a menu when you go into the game. With my control settings, if you set yours the same way here, you basically go into the game, you'll hold down the control key, I think I've got it down to, yeah, control, and then the down arrow, in my case, the way I've got it set up. Because the stock settings on this thing, they're kind of funky, so I made it more intuitive. So control and down arrow opens the menu, and I can turn the FPS gauge. It's independent of the Steam one, so I can see it in the VR view. And with that, you can go over to the menu, and then it's got a crop mod, and you just start shaving off what you don't really care about. And once you get done, you exit that menu, restart your, shut your game down, restart your Pimax, fire up the Firemax, and go back into the game, and then it's going to be cropped kind of like a helmet view. It's great. And that's how you get the 90 frames. If you don't do that, you're probably going to be 15 to 20 frames lower than that. Still look good. With the crop mod, I think that's where it's at. I can sit in there all day. I never think about, oh, I can't see this, or I can't see this clouds, or it's all there. You just do that. You just look up like that. It's all there. So anyway, let's get into a little drive. We'll go ahead and go into multiplayer server. The new patch, they added some buttons to make it a little bit more intuitive here. So you can, I've been tuning this Mercedes AMG GT2, and as a bonus for watching this video this long, you get to see my tune-up. How about that? You can copy and try it. Put some comments in the video. Let me know how terrible it is. No, it's pretty good. I actually got first place a couple times. So you can filter by the car that you're actively driving, filter out the ones that are locked servers, and then sort by players and sort by ping if you want. For me, players is important. So there's one there. It looks like it's just a practice session. Mola, sounds good. So we'll join that, and you can see the frame rate at the top right. Of course, the pit area right here is the worst area, because all the cars, all the railing, plumbing. Ah, they still got my first place position in here. I guess I was in here earlier today. So yeah, I wasn't bullshitting you, was I? So anyway, this tune-up's pretty good. Oh, disconnected from server. Well, maybe they're working on the server. But in the meantime, it doesn't matter. We can drive. So you can see the frame rate is showing 69, 70 with a bunch of cars in front of me. They'll just be static while we drive around since it disconnected. Let's see. Let's change the view to VR only. So we'll show you the right eye. There you go. So now that the VR headset's woken up, so that's a full field of cars in front of me, 60 frames. You might think, well, that's not the 90 you were talking about, but that's just in here. Let's see, will it let me drive? It may not let me drive. We may have to find, yeah, we're gonna have to find another session. Sorry about that, guys. Guess that server went down. It may be restarting some things. Is it still down? Yeah, probably. So let's filter again. Red Bull Ring practice. Oh, that'd be perfect. There's a couple of people in there too. I just want to stay in this car for a minute since I'm actively tuning it today. And just keep in mind, as far as the tunes on my car, yeah, you'll see a video at a later date. That's probably going to be an old tune, as I'm actively tuning these things daily as I'm driving them. And as a new patch comes out, I reset and make a new tune. So maybe that'll be an incentive to come see my streams and stuff, ask questions. Let's see. So here's a stock tune. Looks like they like 23 pounds, a little firmer in the rear to help it rotate probably. TC3, way too much fuel. Man. Yeah, I don't remember the settings I used on the last tune, so I'm not going to try to copy it. I think we'll just go to make a new one just off the fly. A lot of times I start with like 23.5 pounds. That seems to be a good starting position. Never felt a car that was tuned properly push bad with 23.5 or over rotate. Now this car, I think we're going to start with TC3. Seems like 2 was a little sketchy and would start spinning around a high-speed corner sometimes. ABS, I think 2 was okay. We'll start with that. We'll do 34 liters of fuel. I've never run it out with 34. 33, I've cut it real close. Roll bar on the front, it's pretty firm. Okay, front suspension. Usually I'm pretty good if I go about 110 on any car. Seems to be a good starting spot. Rear, we'll keep it super firm. That'll help it rotate. Rear, Keep it firm. That'll help it rotate. Front. Now we'll drive it, and we might soften that up. That would help the front potentially, but if you go too far, you can make it just a mushy front end. You'd think the control arms were manufactured by Jello. And on the rear wing, I usually start with 0 on a new car. And if it spins out, I up traction control. And if it still spins out, around a long high-speed corner where obviously a wing would be beneficial, then I'll bump it up one at a time until that stops happening. Just to kind of give you guys some ideas. You may already know all this stuff. So if you're watching my stream later, right now we're just recording, so it's super high resolution. Hopefully it didn't just screw my tune there, but it may have. You can get to save it. And it was changing sessions while I was tuning. Get you sometimes. 23.5. That looks like my tire pressure. 3.2, yeah. 34. Yeah, a little softer at the front, firmer in the rear, helps rotation. Slight rake. I like a slight rake. I don't like the rear end sagging. I want it a little higher because a lot of times you're giving it gas, it's going to squat a little bit anyway. And with the arrow shoving down on it, it's going to, all the air shoving down on it, it's going to squat anyway. So rear wing angle, we want it to be slippery and fast. Because this car, what is good about this car is top speed. Handling's good, acceleration and top speed. It's a good car. But I don't see a lot of people use it, so I don't know if maybe they're not tuning it and not happy with it. I don't know. Find my home keys. So I'll call this one patch, tune patch 032. That's the new patch. That way, later date, you guys see these numbers, and you'll know this is for older patch. You need to come watch my stream and get the latest tune-up. So let's save that and overwrite our own file, so we definitely have the tune. Yeah, this thing is it's going to run good. Look at that frame rate. Here we go. All right. I didn't want to make a super long video, so just want to show you the settings and now what? On my wheel. If you're ever unsure in VR where your wheel is, because sometimes it's like, well, how many spins do I need to? You can look at this over here. This little dot will move, and so sometimes when I get spun out, and I'm like, I don't know where the hell my wheel is. I can look over here and go, oh, okay, I need to. That's straight. Because it can be confusing sometimes. Not sure what the hell just happened. Because this wheel kind of looks the same up and down because I got that logo almost centered. Oh, and one thing I do as well, and this is not frame rate related, but once you get on the road, hit view settings after you center your VR. Like I bound a key on my steering wheel to center VR, and I also bounded, I think, shift or space bar in most games, depending on what is allowed. But one thing I also do is go to the view settings in this, and this is per car. So if you go into another car, you're going to have to do this again. But for me, my height, I'm about 5'9", 5'10", probably more 5'9" at my age. But so I find that plus 4 centimeters, puts me pretty close to eye level with mirrors in the middle of the windscreen. I want my eyes to be, right on that windscreen. One, because that's what we're focused on, right? And two, I want you guys that are watching the videos and the streams to see what I see. Motion, I leave default. Wheel and dash, I use all visible so my viewers can see what's going on. If I'm ever racing on the flat panel and I've got my physical wheel right up in front of the monitor, I sit and raise that monitor to a level that it's all lined up. And then I sometimes will turn off the wheel because they can see me in the video screen turning the wheel. The other thing is mirrors. For whatever reason, oftentimes this right one, so center, that's the left mirror here, right mirror. You'll notice a lot of times this disable mirror is on, and so that right mirror over there will be black. And that's what's happened is, for whatever reason, Kunos has got that defaulted on about every car. Maybe every car. Alright, so let's lap and just kind of see what our frame rate is. And this is the real deal. This is not single player. This is multiplayer online. Granted, there's only 4 people in the lobby right now, but I like this version of the Red Bull Ring that doesn't have the sharp right turn. Like somebody's messaging me on Discord. I'm going to be streaming in a little bit, but I want to upload this video first. So I'm really just looking at the frame rate. But you can see, you know, 80s and 90s. Please don't cheat my driving just yet. I'll just cold tires, warm up, goofing around. Tires are cold. Now these traction control and ABS settings were, and this tune was developed on another track, so that's why I had some starting figures in mind, and I was just going off memory. So I may have had something off a little bit, but I could feel the back end trying to slide around, so it may wind up that on this track with this high speed that we might actually need to add. In a lot of cases I found in this game and these cars, just one on the wing. Kind of hesitated with the throttle there, but yeah, 80 frames, 86. That's through the paddock area, pit area. Tires are starting to warm up. We'll do one hot lap here, probably wreck, but we'll give it a shot. To give you an idea of how I tune. I usually drive a little wild when I'm tuning, like purposely oversteer a little bit and kind of push it, because a lot of times in the actual race you don't get to drive a perfect line. You got people getting in the way and pulling in front of you and slamming on the brakes and dumb stuff. So it's important to really give it hell when you're doing a tuning session, and you know, if it feels like it's going to slide out, maybe don't correct it. Maybe just keep it floored and see what it's going to do. Is it actually going to slide out, or is it just teasing? And then you can decide from there, is this safe enough? I can raise hell in the lobby. See how that's kind of twisting there? Kind of felt like one tire was spinning. Reach up on this camera a little bit. I usually brake at the 100 mark there. I'm braking a little early right now. So a little distracted shooting a video. And usually about the 100 here, 125 depending on the car. Some of the cars won't quite do it on 100, so 125 is safe usually. Now that chirping of the tires, it breaking loose and then regaining traction, you could roll into the throttle a little easier. You could brake at 150 here usually. This car's got exceptional brakes, so you could go a little deeper than 150. But if you're hearing that traction, if it's really hitting hard, pop, 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 and it's just brutally shaking the car coming out of corners, just to ease off the throttle a hair. Okay, let's sling it around and see what it does. Let me screw it up, full throttle, oversteer. right got hot, but it was actually the rear that slid around. So. Let's try, I've got a key down here, so I'm looking at the TC3. Yeah, TC4. 4. Let's try 4. So 3 is probably going to be a good setting for you guys that are seasoned veterans. Maybe even 2. But you guys like me that like to tune it to the ragged edge. And then just turn on a little extra safety so you that's when you're going to be consistent. I can't tell you how many races I've won off consistency. There's a lot of guys that are super fast and they'll put down hot laps, and you get in the race, they can't negotiate traffic, they can't do anything but hot lap. And a lot of those hot laps, they're running no fuel. You know what I mean? It's so they get in the race and now they got an extra fuel back there and the car feels different. You got a yellow, but I don't see a wreck. Alright, so we got traction control on the 4. I noticed in this game, unlike Forza, in Forza, there's a huge penalty for running too much traction control. And huge gains if you don't run it at all. But not every car can do it. In this game, I just don't see... Late break. In this game, I just don't see a lot of benefit to running no traction control. I mean, if you have to run any at all, which you do, in my opinion, you might as well run a little bit more, because it just doesn't hurt you that much. It's just not that kind of penalty. A little wide there. Well, with TC4, that's probably a super safe setting. So I would recommend starting with TC4. At least start your race with that, because everybody's going to be on full tires, driving terrible, you know, bumping into each other. They're going to knock you loose while you're full throttle. And TC3 is just right on the edge of being enough. So I highly recommend TC4. That seems to be... Notice I've not spun out since we've gone up, but I'll push it real hard here just to make sure. But yeah, definitely going to have to roll into the throttling first. It'll be faster. Instead of that TC going bump, 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 bump. Just roll into the throttle. On the 150, just kind of easing off the brake. Real easy here. Waiting for it to rotate a little bit before we full throttle. On here, about the 100 foot's really safe usually. The VR is so nice. You can literally hang your head down here and, you know, see the apex. Great. Full throttle to here. Let's see what it does. That's the corner where it kept coming loose. No problem. That's what you find a lot of times with these race cars is... Whoop, I got a little loose there, didn't it? I was on a weird line there, I guess. What you find a lot of times with these race cars is... and in real life too. Like I tune race cars for a living, so... I'm tuning one right now, in fact, today. But, when you're the engine tuning, you just want the computer to be as least intrusive as possible. Because when it gets involved, it's a knee-jerk reaction, it overreacts. And the same with the engine. Well, I guess that session's going to a qualifying. Okay. Alright, well I think we'll end the video there. But in any case, those should be some really good settings to get you guys started with a good frame rate and a nice new little tune-up as a bonus. So don't forget to follow and subscribe if you want to get notifications when I go online and when I upload new YouTube videos. And don't forget that we have links to everything: TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and our Discord server. And the moment we have the ability to rent servers for this game, we're going to have one. We're also going to have one for Battlefield 6, which is coming out on October 10th on my birthday. So, I would keep this whole race in the video, but the video would be so long it would take me hours and hours and hours to upload it. I would like to race. Now that I've crashed everybody successfully, I think we'll end the video there. That's a good spot, right? Anyway, I appreciate it, fellas, and I'll see you in the next one. GG's.